I'm going to do a video on some things I picked up the last 3 or 4 months. I'm 74 years old, and I started flint napping when I was, probably 12 years old, trying to figure it out. By the time I was 15, I was making stuff with hammerstone, crude woodland type parts we have, and a nail and a hammer. But I'm no expert at anything, and I don't ever want anybody to think that I said I was or that I am. I learn every day, and flint napping to me is sort of like, you can be pretty good at golf, but you're never gonna win no championship or no masters. Some people just get that ability, sort of like being an artist. Some people can draw and some people can't. Sort of like playing pool. This reminds me of pool, it's all angles. But what I've been watching, I used all elbow stuff for years. I'm looking to see if I got my billet. I keep it around, I don't see it. I didn't think about it, but anyway, my billet's rounded on the end, sort of like a baseball bat. Here's one of them here that I'm talking about. And I was watching Jason Newman one day talking about the square end versus a rounded end, and I said, you know, he's on to something. I like that idea he's sharing, it makes sense. So I started doing square ends and napping, and it improved my thinning an awful lot. Then, about a year after that, I guess, or somewhere in there, it's been several years ago, probably 6 or 8 years ago, I was watching Eddie Lee Ballard nap down in Georgia, and he was using the flat part of his billet, this part right here. So he had a big old copper billet. Now this one's rounded because I used the end, like I'm talking about, but now I'm gonna use it where my thumb is, this little flat part. And he was coming down like this and knocking some huge flakes. I mean, major size flakes off like that. And I got real kind of excited about it when I saw it, and I come home and tried it, and it didn't work. And I worked on the point for a while, and then I went to this method, and I broke it. And then I broke another, and I got mad, and I said, well, you can't teach those dogs new tricks, so, you know, I wish I'd have seen this back when I was a teenager, so I quit fooling with it. And I'm just working while I'm talking here, so y'all excuse me. So I got to thinking later on, about a year later, I was watching a point he made me out of some coral, and I was real interested in the method, and I paid more attention to what he was doing. And I went home and I tried for probably 2 or 3 weeks before I started getting the hang of it and learning the angles and the platforms, what type of platforms to make. And it all makes sense once you figure it out. And I'd give anything if I had had that knowledge back when I was learning years ago and trying to flint nap. We got a nasty old booger there in that piece of Georgetown. It just shattered all up in there. There was a crack and it run and sort of like fishtail and come out. We'll get it out. So anyway, after using this method and getting the hang of it, the guy come along and bought some rock from me, and I didn't know him. And I wasn't watching that much YouTube of anything. He said, well, I got some YouTube videos, and it's under ED, E as in Ed, B as in Bob. I'm sorry. Ed, E-D, D as in dog, B as in Bob, Edbo, B-O, Edbo. And he was using holler copper with a light gas cap on there. And I tried that, and I didn't have too much luck with it, and I said, well, I'm not going to fool with that. So after a while, I started getting tendonitis, and my arms started hurting, and my wrist started hurting, and it just started taking all the fun out of flint napping. And I remembered how light those billets were, so I went and picked up one of these light billets, and I said, you know what? If he can use it, I can use it. It's just getting the feel of it, and learning how you need to grind your platforms, and the weight of these things are real important. I mean, he uses them. I got them in my shop up to like 2 inches in diameter. I really need a heavy one on this rock, but I'm fixing me a new shop, and it's over from my other tool. This one is impossible to heat or cool in the wintertime, and half the wall's falling out on one side. So anyway, I got to watching him And I went back, didn't have no luck, watched him again, went back, and I started fooling with it, and I started having real luck. So now, guess what? I'm back watching Jason Newman again. And what Jason is doing now, he's using copper. I mean aluminum, I'm sorry, I can't say aluminum too good. It just rolls in my mouth. When I try to speak Spanish, if it come out like me saying aluminum, I'd be pretty good at it. But anyway, he's using this, and he's coming down and he's hitting like this, and man, he's knocking heck of pieces off, and it's real light, not wearing him out, getting major results from it. And you can see these flakes are running over halfway across, and I'm just barely tapping them. So then, the next stage, I flute a lot of points used to. I don't flute much anymore. But I started fluting again the other day just for the fun of it. And I noticed that if I want to do indirect fluting, I can't hold it in the middle like this on my leg and pinch it tight, because it usually break right there. And it don't mean that it won't break the way I'm doing it either. And you might have success holding it there. Different strokes for different folks, as I say, but what I'm saying, if I pinch it right up here on top and just let this loose, I hadn't broke any yet, and I'm doing some pretty good fluting with it when I got a platform set up like that. So this is aluminum bopper. I got different sizes, and I'm having good success with them. So now, here's the next thing. This is like Paul Harvey. This has a lot of stores, and this is the rest of the story coming up. E.D. Eddie Main, but he goes by E.D. Ed Bo, B-O. E.D. Ed Bo was using clay the other day. Well, heck, I got videos on taking a piece of wood and putting it on top. And that way, if you miss your platform, you hit the wood and you don't break it, y'all can go find those videos. And I also use clay. But I wasn't happy with the clay. I didn't have much results with it. But I got to watching him, and he was having good results. And I wonder what the deal is. So I sent him a message. He sent me back. He said, well, actually, he said, I'm using a lot of Play-Doh. And Play-Doh, I mean, not Play-Doh, silly putty. Silly putty. He said it'll mold in all them little cracks and crevices. And he said, to me, it's taking the shock out, because it's making your rock thicker, which makes sense. If it was clay and I put it on there, look how thick this piece is now. I wouldn't mind hitting a hard piece that thick, that hard. Like if you got a big old chunk, not a good example, but you can haul off and hit that, buddy. So I said, you know, he's having good results with that. So I go to all over town trying to find some silly putty. Walmart don't have it, and nobody in town has it, so anyway, Hobby Lobby has it, and I went on there and ordered some and got it from them. I think it was Hobby Lobby. My wife ordered it, so don't hold my feet to it. But she found some, and she got it for me. Look at that. And so I started with the clay, having great results right off the bat. Everything I do has greatly improved using the clay. I don't use the clay when it's thick like this. I wait till I get it real thin. If I'm going to do indirect percussion, I wait till I get it almost that thin. Then I use it, and then I use it during the indirect percussion. The clay works great. So does aluminum. So now, I'm going to set up some good platforms. Quit talking for a minute. I told my friend at the coffee shop this morning, everybody talking about it's cold. This first day I even had to wear a long sleeve. And it don't get real cold down here. You know, 40's cold to us. And I said, I'm glad winter's getting here. And he said, what? You gotta be crazy. He said, I don't like cold weather. I said, well, I don't either, but it gives my tongue a chance to heal. He says, your tongue? I said, yeah. I talk so much during the summertime, my tongue gets sunburned, and I got to give it a chance to heal. In the wintertime, it's shady and cold, and the days are not as long, it gives it a chance to heal. And he just fell out laughing. I don't know what's gonna happen with this. I cut myself an hour ago. I'm on blood thinner. I can't stop it from thinning. If they take it off of YouTube, they just have to take it off because it's not a deep cut. I'm not gonna worry about it. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna thin this a little more, and I'm gonna put the clay on it and show you how that works. It's got a lot of bad stuff in it. This is some of that Georgetown is not the brightest piece on the truck. I'm always making excuses, but you can see it. It's just like concrete all in there. But anyway, we're gonna go with it. Go with the girl we took to the dance. We're not gonna change horses in the middle of the stream. All them old sayings the old timers used to say. Alright, now get this side ready and then we'll go with the clay. It's not quite thin enough for the clay yet, we're gonna go with it. Y'all just hang on to your horses. I hate long videos. If I was watching this and you made it, I would have already stopped it. But I would have come back 2 or 3 hours later the next day, watched it and stopped it. I'm gonna watch it to the finish, but my attention span is just not that good for long videos and stuff. Okay, that turned out pretty good. Alright, let me get rid of some more of this BLOOD. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do so it won't be so long. I'm gonna find me a preform I hadn't thinned down yet. It's real thin, but I'm not through it if I have one. Here's one right here. I don't know if you can tell how thin that is. I'm not good at showing rocks where you can see how thin they are. That's real thin. We're gonna use this piece. It won't take up as much time. All right, let me get my pressure flaker out of here. And I'm gonna knock some pieces off with the clay and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm setting up a continuous platform because its edge is pretty straight. Just where it's not just one particular area I need to remove something off of. It's already in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to kind of thin it going all the way down. And I know one thing. I got to come out of this wool sweater. I bought me a sweater made out of llama wool when I was in Ecuador. I watched them make it. That's real llama wool. Boy, when you got wool on, it don't take long to warm up fast. I don't care what's going on around you. All right, now we're gonna go to indirect percussion. All right, there's my little, nope, that's not it. This is it. Okay, get my silly putty out of here. Boy, this stuff gets harder than woodpecker lips. Woodpecker lips are pretty hard now, I'm telling you. When that woodpecker pecks on them hickory nut trees, you gotta have a pretty tough mouth to handle that. Let me kind of flatten it out. See which way I'm going with this. All right, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna put it on here. And I have heard of other people using clay, but I just didn't see them having as good a result as old Ebo does. All right, now, come right here. Run a nice flake off. Another one. Another one. Another one. Get out here on the end. I don't have the clay all the way on the end. So I'm gonna back up this way, so knock it off. Now what he's claiming this is doing, I'm gonna go in the middle of these places now on my deltas. I skipped real wide. What he claims this is doing to him is making this rock ever how thick that is, like 1.5 inches thick instead of thin, because it's molded in every little dip and dive in that rock. So now I'm gonna take if I can catch it, my indirect percussion tool. I'm gonna set it right here and hit as hard as I can. That came off real good. It wasn't as hard as I can, but what I meant, as hard as I want to, as thin as it is. Harder than I would normally hit on it. That was even a little harder. And watch how this is molded to it when I pull it off. See all them little deals? That's where it went into it now. If you look on here, I've got a hinge that's on this blade. It was already on it. That little white spot is the limestone. It's a hinge running right through there. So I'm gonna come back and see if I can take it off using this clay method, because I can hit up above it, which you know, anybody knows is when you hit above your center line, you're asking for trouble. So I'm gonna hit above the center line. I'm gonna have a big, heavy clay ball right there when I do it. See if it keeps from breaking it. And people say the rest of that's alright, but here's a couple of spots up here I want to take out. Got some little ridges, run a few little flakes down. Pressure plate me some platform. We'll be ready to go. Alright. Now let me just a little light grind on it. You don't want to grind too heavy when you got a little thin edge there. Alright, so now I'm going to put this clay right here, and I'm going to start folding it back and pushing it up in the middle and making it a lot thicker. Little divot in there didn't get any grinding on it. You won't grind it too hard or too thick, because the thicker it is, the harder it's going to be for that flake to come off. But you want it thick enough that the flake will come off. Okay, now, all right, I'm going to try to take this out by hitting on top of it. So I'm going to hit straight on top of it, which is above the center line. Come right up here, my tool seated on top, I'm going to hit this way. And there she goes. I'm going to move over here. Got that side. Let me grind in the middle just a little bit, thicken that up more. I got the two sides off. I'm going to come over and move a little more of this side off. I don't know if you see what happened, but the ridge was right there and it moved it down to there. So I come this way and this way, or I can come across. It improved it a lot, it just shifted around. I don't know why it did that unless it was a crack below there. I didn't realize it was cracked, and it might be where that little hinge was there to start with. I really didn't look at it that good when I was playing around with it. I'm gonna take this off. Come back and shake this edge up. See if I can run one all the way across as thin as this is. It's gonna be interesting. I might break it, but that's how you learn. You know how hard you can hit it. You know what you can get away with. So next time you run into that problem, you got that muscle memory built up. You say, you know what, I can do that. I did that before. All I got to do is slap the fool out of it. So we're gonna take these little piece of rock out of here. I don't want them in here. I might mess the spot up. And I'm gonna come right across here. Make sure I get it pressed in real firm and tight. I was just laying that other clay up on there. I wasn't working it in the cracks or nothing. Right now, I'm gonna see if I can run this all the way across to the other side and take that out. That was hard and it didn't go. Anyway, all the way across to the other side. I'm sorry, I'm holding it down too low. I need to watch where I'm holding it. I can't find where the, I guess that was, there we go. I'll get it right. Now the little white spot right there is gone. Now that's how hard you can hit. I want you to look one more time at how thin that is right in there. And I hit that hard on it. Hard enough to run it all the way across. I think the clay really helps. So I hope this helps you out. Maybe you'll learn something that'll help you from it. I'm gonna go ahead and pat me some on here, and might work this style to shape it out to something. Do another video on it if it turns out pretty good. Well, let's see, right now before I do that, I gotta set me some platforms up. Hard to set platforms up through clay. They won't hold very good. Alrighty. Pretty good. And it takes a little time. Take the clay off and put it on. And I'm always been in a hurry. What I call speed napping. I'm constantly when I'm making something go just like I am right now. I very rarely pressure plate. I set my platforms up like a lot of these guys do with my billet or whatever you'll call it, my hollow bop or whatever. But when you want something super thin, it's worth the patience, I'm telling you, to take your mold lift and press it in these little grooves on here. Boy, that whole side turned out great. Now I gotta get the tip. Somebody said, I thought I'd seen you make pork super thin and you didn't use anything like that. You sure did. I'm not saying I can't do it either. I've been doing it. But if I break one, material's so expensive, even though I sell it, I gotta pay a lot of money for it. And if I spend, also I look at it this way, if I spend 30 minutes getting a piece real thin and I break it, that's 30 minutes of my time gone. So if this will help me for breaking, from now on I'm gonna use it. And so far it is helping to me. I hadn't put it through the ringer long enough. Hadn't run enough tests on it yet, but I believe it's gonna work. We'll do one more thing. We're gonna call in the dogs and put the fire out. I've got a big ridge running right here with a hinge there. I'm gonna come across this way and see if I can knock it out with this clay and this piece of bopper I made out of the aluminum bar. Okay, pile this up on here. Alrighty. Pretty good one. Didn't quite go all the way. My angle wasn't right. And that's another thing I gotta get used to using that flat aluminum bar is the angle I'm hitting with and the angle I'm holding with. I'm used to napping on my leg. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. If you go to nap and holding it up in there, you can change the angle with your hands so easy. And also the angle you hit's important. So that would run all the way across if I hadn't hit the deep end. So I'm gonna try to remember what angle I use and change it and see if I can go across right here. Well, I'll be dog, I hit my clay. Got a good bit of it off. Hit too high up, hit my clay, but one thing about it, when I hit too high up, it didn't break it. I missed my platform completely. I was worried about the angle and worried about where that clay was, that piece of aluminum was gonna hit at. I missed it, so and like I say, this is something that I'm experimenting with, but I've seen the other guy do it and he's having real good success, and so far I am pleased with the success that I'm having. Trying to mold it real thick and come down pretty hard on it. There we go. That one went all the way across that way. Now I'm gonna sit in, clip me up a little more platform on this side. See what'll happen. I'll be so glad I get my shop built. It's already built, it's just a prefab metal building. I'm gonna have it coming this way and this way with my tools, so I'm gonna have to reach over here and over there and everywhere else to get my tools. It'll all be located in easy reaching distance. Now, I'm gonna get away from that aluminum, and I know it'll work better, but I'm still having trouble with the angles, and also with this, but I'm a little better with this than the angles than I am with the aluminum. And there's the play points, that's what I'm talking about. You know, you hit it right, but this is a new toy. I just started fooling with it today. And I want the next one. It should be gone, all except coming across from right there. It'll be gone. All right, I hope you learned something from using round flat aluminum billets and using clay. Have a great blessed day.